Some new information, quote-unquote, leaks out from a GitHub leak, if you can believe that. And again, we have to take this stuff with a grain of salt because we don't really know exactly what's going to happen in the future when it comes to consoles or anything like that. But the reason why I push for gaming consoles to be around for a long time is just because I really love video game consoles. Right? It's like I love the fact that these things are so compact, easy to use, plug and play. They get great performance. There's no ununiformness. You know what I'm saying? If I'm on a PlayStation 5 and someone else is playing on a PlayStation 5, we're getting the same experience. There's not going to be a huge advantage or disadvantage for either one of us. And I like that about that. But now comes this news, which I find to be very interesting to say the least. And, you know, I think fans are going to find this to be a very interesting video, and I can't wait to get into it because I feel like this is a topic that definitely is going to have people talking for a long time to come, and I hope that you guys will agree with me. But if you don't agree with me, I just want to point out that that's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to dislike me or we have to dislike each other. We can just agree to disagree and just have different opinions, and that's what makes things so great when it comes to the world. Is so far, usually whenever these things come up and people have different, they go, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, don't talk about this. And this has really caused a big rift for people, right? If we were able to freely talk about this stuff, maybe others wouldn't get so triggered and upset over a difference of opinions. But I digress. This is definitely a video you aren't going to want to miss. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer, and this of course is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice the cool changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me and my silly YouTube channel. It really does mean a lot. Now, we know that Sony said they're going to bring quote-unquote a whole slate of games to PC. And some people feel a way about it, some people don't. People expect me to feel a way about it, but the only way that I would really feel a real certain kind of way about it is if they took away the day one availability on PlayStation and made it for PC as well, for multiple reasons. I will get into this whole entire situation as to why I don't think this GitHub leak is real. First of all, in this leak, there's a release date for Horizon Forbidden West for next year. On PC. Horizon Forbidden West only comes out on PlayStation 5 next year on consoles, so in February. So it would be ridiculous to think that that game would come out next year. First of all, that would be a direct lie that goes against what Sony had previously said multiple times about waiting at least 2 years. Now, the other games on there were Ratchet & Clank from 2016, which makes sense. You know, that game's 4 or 5 years old. Even the game like Ghost of Tsushima makes sense because that game will be 2 years old next year. So I can understand that. Sackboy Adventure, that would be 2 years old if it came out around the holiday season. I think any sooner than that, you're going to get some pushback from the fans because clearly stated multiple times that they were waiting 2 years. Now, before people get into the whole, well, they lie all the time about this, that, and the other thing. When they got caught lying about Horizon Forbidden West upgrade path, they were forced to go in and change that around. Now, the main reason why, for me personally, I think that there's some validity to some of this, but probably not. Just because there's a game in this database doesn't mean that it's coming specifically next year. It could just mean that it's on tap for, you know, the usual 2-year wait or whatever afterward. But for me personally, what people have to understand when I say I don't believe day and date is on the horizon, it's for multiple reasons. First of all, there's a solid-state drive in the PlayStation 5 that's pretty state-of-the-art and that most people on PC don't have. In fact, we know during the Steam charts and the Steam, the way that they do the surveys, that hardly any have a solid-state drive to the factor of what the PlayStation 5 has, which means if you were doing day and date games, how could you take advantage of a solid state drive in a uniform PlayStation 5 when there's no uniform PC? Meaning they couldn't take advantage of that. So again, I think that would be a real slap in the face to gamers, and people would probably call them out on that, which also would prevent them from doing that. Also, doing games day and date on PC would in fact create longer development times, and it would also mean that it wouldn't take the most advantage of the console. We would get games looking like Halo Infinite, which are very mid-looking games, instead of the gorgeous-looking games that we end up getting on the PlayStation platform. Now, when it comes to another situation that I'm going to talk about, some people might not agree with me, and some people might go, I never thought of that. But hear me out. First of all, the reason that, it leaked the number of PC sales that they have for Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, and Death Stranding. And it was like all of it was between 1.3 and 1.7 million units sold. So not a huge success in my opinion, but again, for Horizon and Days Gone, these were launched years after the original games. There's also a huge piracy to kind of keep in the forefront as well. Also, I want to point this out. If you were to release your games day and date on PC with your platform, with the PS5, I think the piracy would be even higher, right? The fact that these games are coming years later, the piracy might help keep piracy down a little bit. But if you were doing it day and date, people might pirate it that have a PC and and a PlayStation just to save some money, right? So you would lose potential sales there. And I think that would be a real concern. That's not the only concern, though. Think about this, and I've heard nobody but me bring this up. So Sony, on their first-party games, get 100% of $70 first-party game sales on their platform. 100%. On PlayStation 5, these are $70 games. $70 games where they get 100% of that on PlayStation 5. On PC, on Steam, they get 70% of $50. Which one do you think they would rather have? 100% of $70 or 70% of $50? Now, they're never going to get away with charging $70 on a PC, right? And this could also cause a little bit of a rift. Because if you're charging your console owners $70 and you're charging PC owners $50, there's a $20 difference there. I think the console owners are going to get pissed off. You're going to have a big issue there. Not only that, a lot of people have both. Right? A lot of people have both a PlayStation and a PC, and if you can get the games $20 cheaper on PC, wouldn't you do that? So that could end up costing them money and sales. And I also think that people really discount how easy it would be just to buy a PC and have great performance and not have to worry about the consoles. Like, PCs aren't as hard as they used to be. And you can get pre-built ones that are actually pretty good, and they're becoming cheaper with better parts, which is 100% factual. Now, we've never been in a world where Xbox and all PlayStation exclusives go day and date to PC. If we did, that would really eliminate the need for either console for a large portion of people. Nobody thinks about this stuff, right? If you're somebody like me who spends, these consoles are $550 new or whatever. That's $1,100-$1,200 with tax for two consoles. You could build a beast PC for that price and not have to worry about the paying for online or paying for this or paying for that, right? It's actually going to end up much cheaper in the long run, to be quite honest with you. People really don't take this stuff into consideration for whatever reason, and I find it to be a little bit foolish. So I honestly think that, Sony is very smart. I think they're smarter than what people are giving them credit for. And I also think that, it's just one of those things where, Sony will want to make money as a hardware company. That's their job. They want to make money as a hardware company. How do they make money as a hardware company? Well, you got to get people to buy your hardware. And how do you do that? You put out great software. Now, if you're putting your software everywhere, and I know people are going to go and look at Microsoft. Microsoft sales are worse this generation than last generation for whatever. People are going to bring up that there's a lack of chips and semiconductors or whatever. That's the case with PlayStation as well, but yet they still managed to beat last generation's PS4 marks, which were incredible. So you can sit there and make excuses for it, but you can find a Series S anywhere. And the funny thing is that, people want to act like putting your stuff day and date on PC didn't hurt Xbox. It hurt Xbox in multiple ways that I mentioned when they first announced this in 2016. One of the ways is which people are less likely to be populated on the Xbox version of the game, and therefore would be forced into doing crossplay with PC, and that has come to fruition, right? Even something like Gears of War 5, you are forced to do crossplay with PC on that game, and, that's a real shame. you should never be forced to have to play with that because, again, on PC, there's a lot of cheating and hacks and stuff like that. So hopefully this makes sense to some of you guys. I would really appreciate the feedback. I don't think they're going to go day and date. I don't think that that list is completely accurate or has, you know, maybe Hold'em dates or something like that. But I don't think that something like Horizon Forbidden West is going to come out next year. It just would not make any sense. With that being said, let me know what you think. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap gamer out.
Turns out, the same people as always, dropping the facts. It's not cross-gen.